All right, so 7.2% equations. This is the foundation to almost all percents. And quite honestly, it's not hard. It really is not hard. Now, I've been teaching for 30 years, and 30 years ago, there was no formula for this whatsoever. Today, at least, they give you a formula. Now, I've been given a formula for 30 years, and so that's the first one. The bottom one is now what some courses begin to teach for formula. And either one will work well. To be quite honest with you, if you know both, you're way better off. You'll be able to do almost every kind of problem. All right. So the first one is simply the number equals the percent. That's already written there for you. And then the last part is times the, believe it or not, the of number. The of number. Say, what in the world is an of number? I'll show you. The formula is the number equals the percent times the of number, Chloe. It's not what? Oh, you guys got that weird version. You're going to have to write it in then. All right, that happened on your front page. That's life sometimes. So you're going to have to do a little bit more writing than I had hoped. All right, bummer. It's all right. At least there's not a ton on this page. So the number equals percent. You just need the percent symbol times the of number. Here's the other way of thinking of the exact same thing. Part equals the percent times the whole. W-H-O-L-E, not H-O-L-E. Whole, complete, right? Total. So they're both the exact same thing. The number equals percent times the of number, and the part equals percent times the whole. They're exactly the same thing. Now, you'll hear me say this until you no longer have me as a math teacher. Whenever you have an equation that involves a percent, the percent is always in decimal form in the equation. The percent is always in decimal form. Always. And so you have to be aware of that. If you're aware of that, you'll be in great shape. If you lose track of that, there'll be certain kinds of problems that you're going to miss because you're not keeping track of the fact that the percent is always in decimal form, daydreamers. And there's numbers of you out there that daydream through that key statement. Okay? Always decimal form. Guess what? When I look at homework tomorrow, guess what I'm going to see? Some people with their percent not in decimal form. And they're like, I don't know why I got it wrong. I'm like, yeah, because I told you the decimal's got to be in percent form. I mean, percent has to be in decimal form. So that's key. Can't forget that. That is really, 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 really important. Now, you don't have that part either, do you? When you have an answer, always ask. Did we do demams in here yet?
No.
All right, we've done arbum, right? But we haven't done demams. All right, so I'll give you time to copy that. When you have an answer, always ask demams. Gotta ask demams. Yo, demams. Does my answer make sense? And you gotta listen for her answer.
Oh, demands.
Yes, gotta ask demams. Does my answer make sense? And demams will say yes or no. If demam says no, then you got something wrong. Like maybe you didn't put the percent in decimal form. And demams will catch that if you'll ask her. But if you don't ask her, she won't catch it for you. And you'll get the problem wrong. So when you have an answer, always ask demams. Does my answer make sense? Okay. And I'll show you that in just a moment. Okay. So when you have an answer, always ask demams. Does my answer make sense? Okay. So unfortunately, you guys don't have this. So this is solving for the three different parts. Solving for the three different parts. I shouldn't show you all that because you're going to try to copy it all. Don't copy everything right now. Just stay with what we're doing. So number 2 is solving for the three different parts. And A is finding the number, which I'm going to put in parentheses, is also the same as finding the part, right? Remember, our two equations up above are the same equation, different way of looking at it. So 2 is solving for the three different parts. And the first one, A, let's solve for finding the number, which is the same as finding the part. Okay, I've tried to train you guys that the way we're going to do problems like this is always start with your formula. So again, I know unfortunately this didn't copy in your notes. So write the number 1, use your color there. Do 36% of 80. Do the of 80 in blue and then write is what. That's a normal type question. 36% of 80 is what? Common question. 36% of 80 is what? Kristen.
Remember when last year we had questions like that. We had like the is, the of, the percent, and like the number.
Mm-hmm.
And we like solve it. We were given proportions.
Okay, you could. You could solve it with proportions. If you use equations, I think a little bit easier. So we'll start with the formula. The number equals percent times the of number, right? That's the formula. And again, if you want to use part equals percent times the whole, knock yourself out. Here's the problem with that formula sometimes. Sometimes you don't know which is the part and which is the whole. But in this kind of situation, it's real clear what everything is. Okay. Would you agree that the 36% is the percent? Is there any trouble with that? All right. So somebody raise your hand and tell me what to put where the percent symbol is. Somebody raise your hand and tell me what to stick in where the percent symbol is. Emily? 36? How many agree? How many disagree? That's great. Amber, what do you want me to put? So obviously my 5-minute tirade about how you always put the percent in decimal form didn't do any good yet, did it? The percent is always in decimal form, all right? 0.36. The mams would have caught that, by the way. The mams would have figured out that you did something wrong. All right, 36. Now, we use the 36%. We have the 80, and we have to decide, is 80 the number or is 80 the of number? Which one is it?
Of number.
How in the world do you know it's the of number? Because it says of 80. A lot of percents say of. So the of number is pretty obvious. The of number is 80. And in actuality, the number is what we're looking for, right? N. All right, class. To solve an equation means to what the variable? Isolate. What does it mean to isolate the variable? Get it all by itself on one side of the equal sign, right? Is the variable isolated right now? So all we have to do is what? Piece of cake. Grab your calculator. Punch in 0.36 times 80 and see what it says. Grab your calculator. Punch in 0.36. Here, use this one in me. 0.36 times 80, and somebody raise your hand and tell me what you got. Christina?
28.8. No?
28.8. How many agree 28.8? All right, you're all the correct ones. Be careful what you punch in. 0.36, the multiplication button, 80. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to ask the mams. Yo, the mams. What do you think of 28.8? Okay, so here's a little bit of what we're doing. We want 36% of 80, correct? Here's some of the reasoning of asking the mams. I would think most of you know 50% of 80. 50% of something is how much of it? Half of it. What's half of 80?
40.
40. Is 36 less than 50? So I better be below 40, right? Is 28.8 below 40? Is it about the right amount below 40? Yeah. The mams likes my answer. She's happy with it. Seems reasonable to her. It's a reasonable answer. It's as far as you need to go with it. You don't need to go much farther. You're just seeing if it's a reasonable answer. And that's reasonable. The mams likes it. Let's do the next one, number 2. So again, I'm sorry you guys don't have it on your page yet. Find 27.5% of 56. Number 2, find 27.5% of 56. So again, I'm going to start with the number equals the percent times the of number. So somebody raise their hand and tell me what to put in one of those 3 spots. You can choose anything you want. Brendan?
For the percent, put 0.275.
Awesome. 0.275 is indeed the percent. Right, that's what we did Friday, right? Working on changing percents to decimal form. 27.5% is 27.5%, and Brendan moved his decimal point 2 places to the left, right? All right, somebody give me another spot. Aaron? I have no idea how you figured that out, but 56 is indeed the of number. I'm telling you, a lot of percent problems say of and give you the number. That's why I like the formula. Number equals percent times the of number. And therefore, then, we are looking for the number, right? Again, these are easy problems. You take your calculator, you multiply 0.275 times 56. Go ahead and belt that out. 0.275 times 56. Kristen, what do you got?
15.4.
How many got 15.4? Okay, and that's what you should have gotten on your calculator. Now, again, I need to go to DMAMS. Yo, DMAMS, what do you think about 15.4? All right. What's a half of 56? 28. Isn't 25% a half of the half? What's half of 28? Am I right around 14? And I should be a little bigger, right? Because 27 is a little bigger than 25. Am I a little bigger? Perfect. The mam's really happy with my 15.4. All right, so again, here's what I did when I asked the mams. I'm looking for 27%. So first I did 50%. Half of a 56 is 28. Then I thought, well, I might as well do 25%. Half of the 50. Half of 28 is 14. So 25% is 14. I'm at 27.5. I got to be a little bigger than 14. I'm a little bigger than 14. The mams is happy. If she's happy, you're happy. Y'all heard, right? If mama's not happy, nobody's happy. All right? So make sure mama's happy. If the mams is happy, you'll be happy. I'll be happy. Your parents will be happy. Everybody will be happy, happy, happy. Yes, ma'am. That is also true. Happy wife, happy life. Yes. So the wise husband will say, doesn't matter if this is going to make me happy or not. If it makes her happy, I'll be happy. We'll go with it. All right, third example of this kind. What is 132% of 15? What is 132% of 15? So class, how am I going to start? With the formula. Number equals percent times the of number. Does it take a long time to write that formula? No. You think I'll want you to write that formula every time you do a problem tonight? Absolutely. Because again, you're memorizing it every time you use it, and it's what tells you what to do. All right, somebody raise your hand. Give me one of the 3 spots. Edward?
Where the percent sign is, you put 1.32.
How many agree with Edward? Put 1.32 for the percent. He is correct. He moved his decimal point 2 places to the left. He put his percent in decimal form. Somebody else give me a number. Give me a number. Come on, participate. Yes, ma'am.
The of number is 15.
The of number is 15. Again, I have no earthly idea how she figured that out. Math is so confusing. And take your calculator out. Multiply 1.32 times 15. Somebody raise your hand when you got that. Juliana? Did I hear 19.8? How many agree with 19.8? Okay, that is what your calculator should say. But we want to see if Mama's happy. Okay. What's 100% of 15? 15. Are we above 100%?
Yeah, no.
We got to be bigger than 15. Okay. Let's go to 150%. What's 50% of 15? 7.5. So 150% is how much?
17.5.
Now remember, you're starting at 15. 15 is 100%, and 50% is 7.5, about 22.5. Are we below that? We are. Now again, I know that could be a little tricky. Maybe your demands would just be, hey, am I past 15? Yeah. Am I too far past it? Doesn't seem like it. I had to go 32% past 15. The MAMS is happy, and you should be happy too. All right, I think you now have all the notes, thankfully. Let me go a little quicker. Okay, so that's finding the number. Now we got to find the of number, which if you use the second formula is the part that is the whole. And the questions will be something like question number 1. 18 is 20% of what number? Well, again, we're going to use the formula, the number equals percent times the of number. I color-coded this one. Normally, though, I would start with the percent, 0.2, right? I'm going to put it in decimal form. Well, I clearly see the of number is what I want, so I'm going to put my variable for the of number. And that means the 18 had to be the number. It had to be, right? I used up the of number, I used up the percent, so the 18 must be the number. Okay. Now, to help our notes to be clear, to do the next step, I want to rewrite this. So just do a minute and rewrite it. 18 equals 0.2 times n, or 0.2n. Now, in this case, we're not quite ready to multiply anything out because we got to move the 0.2. So somebody tell me how to move the 0.2. How do we move the 0.2? I'm looking for people that, yes, Hayden?
Divided by 0.2.
We're going to divide both sides by 0.2, exactly. Divide the right by 0.2, divide the left. We can use our shortcut, right? Now are we ready to use our calculator? Absolutely. 18 divided by 0.2. Take your calculator out. Remember, punch in the 18, hit your divide by button, punch in 0.2. It's always the top divided by the bottom. Make sure it's 0.2 that you divide by, otherwise the MAMS will not be happy. All right, what do we got for an answer? Daniel, what does your calculator say? 90. How many got 90? It's what you should have gotten. Let's ask the MAMS. Whoa, these green DMAMs. Now you got to put it together. 20% of 90, is that 18? Is 18 20% of 90? What's 50% of 90? 45. What's 25% then of 90? What's half of the 45? About 22.5. Am I a little below that? I like it. The MAMS is happy. She's happy. I'm a little lower than 25%. Remember, 50% is always half the number. 25% is half of the 50%. Those are just easy things to ask the MAMS. Okay, so second scenario. Maybe it's going to be asked like this. 8% of what number is 43? See, the wording's a little different, but we're still looking for the of number. And again, you'd use your formula. Number equals the percent times the of number. Takes a second to write. Again, if you want to use part equals percent times whole, feel free. So So again, in this one, hopefully you decide. Somebody tell me what to put in for the percent. Julia, can you do the percent for me? What's 8% in decimal form? 0.8? Not quite. That's a common mistake. Nathan? Yeah, be careful. Whenever the percent is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it's always 0.0, that number. Okay? Because 0.8 is 80%. Be careful with that one. It happens. All right. I know I'm looking for the of number, so I put my variable there. And now I know the 43's got to be the number. Look, where do you think students make a mistake in problems like these? It's confusing the of number and the number, the part and the whole. That's where the mistakes are made. So just make sure you don't confuse them, and the rest is easy. Okay, we don't need to rewrite this one because we already know what we're doing now. Somebody tell me how to finish this equation. How do I finish this equation? Luke?
Divide both sides by 0.08.
Exactly. Divide both sides by 0.08. See how easy these are to solve? These are really easy to solve. Take your calculator out. Divide 43 by 0.08. Colby, what do you got? 537.5. Man, that's huge. That's huge. But here's the question. 8% of what number is 8% of 537? About the number 43. What's 10% of 537? 10%. Don't you guys know how to do 10%? Just move it one place. 53.7 is 10%. Am I a little lower than 10%? Is 43 a little lower than 50? The mams is happy. She's happy. It's a reasonable answer. I must have done things correctly. I must have even punched it in the calculator correctly. Hey, can you have the right formula and solve the equation correctly and hit a wrong button on your calculator? Well, it's easy to prove these days. 30 years ago, I couldn't use this illustration. Today, I can. How many of you guys text? Okay. Does the text message always say exactly what it's supposed to say, or are the words goofy? Yeah, because what happened? You hit a wrong button. Can you hit a wrong button on your calculator? Absolutely. So you got to be careful. And that's why it's really important to ask the mams. You can have everything correct and punch it in wrong. Which, by the way, if you have all the work correct and punch it in wrong, I'll give you a good amount of the points. I won't take them all off because you made a calculator punch in error. But if you show me no work and I have nothing to go on, what do I got to do? Take all the points off. Okay. Oh, 3 and 4. I don't know that we have time to do either of these. So we'll just set them up and then we'll stop there. So number 3 would be the number equals percent times the of number. And so again, I always like to do the percent first. 0.85. How do I do a quarter? 0.8525. Correct. Again, it would have been 85.25%, and then move the decimal point 2 places to the left, gives you 0.8525. It tells me I'm looking for the of number, so that's where I put the variable. And look, on this one, it's $120, right? Keep the dollar symbol. All right, real quick, divide by both sides by 0.8525. 8525. Take your calculator out. Divide 120 by 0.8525. When somebody's got it, raise your hand and tell me the answer, Allison. $140 and how many cents? I think you said 76, didn't you? Hey, did we round off money to one decimal place? No, we round off money to the penny, right? Because that's how we talk. $140.76, right? Now, does the mams like that answer? So again, you got to go back. $120 is 85.25% of $140. It's reasonable. don't even have to go a lot on that one. That's a reasonable answer. 85% has to be lower than the 140, but not a ton lower. And I'm not. And DeMams likes that answer. She likes it. Hey, Mikey, we like it. All right. Number 4, I'm not going to do for time's sake. Same kind of problem. 6 1/5%, by the way. You guys remember your 1/5 is point what? Yeah, so this would have been 0.2%. And when you used it in the actual problem, it would be 0.062, right? Again, time won't allow me to do that one because I want to get to the third kind. All right, third kind. All right, the last thing then is to solve for the percent. Now you got to be careful. Note the solution to the equation will be the percent in what kind of form? Decimal form. So you have to, on the last step, turn the decimal into a percent. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, I think I even have more in your notes, right? So actually I have the word form already, don't I? So move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol. Symbol's not showing there, but it's in your notes, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and do the first problem. Here's a normal question. 36 is what percent of 50? Is that a normal percent problem? 36 is what percent of 50? All right, I color-coded it. But again, if I were doing the problem, this is what I would do first. Where the percent is, I'll put the variable. Sometimes I'll use P for a percent. I'm going to use N there. Is it clear what the of number is? Yeah, it's 50, right? So 50 is the of number. And so 36 must be the number. Again, are problems in the book going to be color-coded? No. Are problems on the test going to be color-coded? No, but a lot of times that word of is there. Almost always. So 36 equals N times 50. Would you agree we need to isolate the variable? All right, so again, to be clear, let's just rewrite and somebody tell me how to solve for the N. How do we solve for the N? Chloe? And it's not 0.50, that's a raised dot, so it's 50, right? So divide the right by 50, divide the left by 50. I need everybody punching into their calculator 36 divided by 50. (36 divided by 50). This should be what your calculator reads, 0.72. Agreed? That's the percent in decimal form, isn't it? How do we change it into a percent? You multiply it times 100%. So some people right now choose to punch in their calculator times 100. So punch in your calculator times 100. So remember, it has to be times 100% for our final answer. And therefore, the final answer is 72%. Does the MAMS like that answer? Is 36 72% of 50? What's 50% of 50? What's 75% of 50? Do half of 25 again more, right? You're at 25. So what's half of 25? 22 and a half. 25 and 22 and a half is how much? 35, 45, 46, 47. So I would be at 47 for 75%. I'm at 72%. I'm lower. The MAMS likes it. Okay. So again, that one's a little odd with the MAMS, but the number's 50. What's 50% of 50? We all know that's 25. My number better be bigger than 25 because I'm saying it's 72%. My number's 36. It is bigger than 25. The MAMS thinks that's a reasonable answer, but you got to ask her. All right, let me let you do the last problem. Go ahead and do number 2. Take it all the way to the end. Give me a percent final answer. Take it all the way to the end. Give me a percent final answer. And tell me, Colby, what do you got?
181.4%.
Does the MAMS like 184.1%? 180. Okay, 181. Does the MAMS like that? Here's the question. 78 is, sorry, 43 is 181% of 78. Does the MAMS like that? No. No. What's 50% of 78? 39. I'm a little bigger than 50%. That's what DMAMS are like. So DMAMS can catch you with that, Colby, if you can figure out how to do DMAMS. Brendan, what do you got?
N equals 50.
Too much of a round off. Emily,
55.
point what?
1.
55.1% is the answer. How many got 55.1? Again, you're going to divide 43 by 78. And again, I think it's easier if you'll multiply by 100 in your calculator. Then you're reading the answer to one decimal place. It's easier for you. Do the division in your calculator, then multiply times 100. Remember, we're multiplying by 100%. Same as moving the decimal point 2 places to the right. All right. Practice tonight. Really key lesson. Work at getting them right. Use those odds to make sure you're correct.